Lost Ark is trending. It has a lot of players than Final Fantasy 14. So I'm interested in knowing whether it's worth playing or there are better games than that. Let's actually see this video. This is by the NAPALM. He talks about the top 10 MMO experiences in 2022. Let's watch this.
There are a ton of MMORPGs to play, and here at this channel I enjoy those classic immersive experiences that give me a challenge, are deep in lore, and offer a lot of depth and nerdiness to get my blood pumping and my nerd juices flowing. So in no particular order, except for the last one, let's discuss the MMOs I would recommend playing in 2022 with brief descriptions why. My list may be very different than the common YouTube channel because of my tastes, and if there's an MMO I didn't mention, please drop in the comments down below for conversation. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing for MMO and RPG content. Swipe and click that like button to help with the YouTube algorithm. Now let's get to it. Lord of the Rings Online. Now this MMO couldn't get enough credit no matter how hard I try. It's got the lore of the Lord of the Rings and super faithful to the book series with locations that will melt your little nerd heart as you play. You can follow the book series quest, which will have you in interactions with the Fellowship of the Ring, or you can just pick almost any quest in the game and it's sure to bring you a good time, sometimes even shocking you with how it interacts with the stories from the trilogy, harkening back to places and things from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. This is a nerd's absolute best friend. It's a bit pricey once you get up in levels, but should you make it that far, I doubt you will mind. Plenty on offer to get your juices flowing on the free-to-play side until you decide to jump in all the way. It is tab target and has all the fantasy classes and races, although some of the names of the classes may take a little digging in to see which archetype they fulfill. I highly recommend Lord of the Rings Online with instanced and open dungeons, group play and solo play. It is one of the best at the time of this recording if you just want a full immersion in the coolest world, Middle Earth. I mean, come on. One of the best worlds ever made in fantasy fiction. EverQuest 2. Okay, hear me out. EverQuest 2 offers some nostalgia for lovers of the original EverQuest, but with enough quality of life that you can enjoy it in quicker, easier sessions. It's got so many races, you won't know what to do, and tons of classes to boot. And later this month, EverQuest 2 is launching with a new server type that will start everyone at 90 and allow you to play any of the first 6 expansions of content at your leisure, making you level appropriate for whatever you want to do. So there has never been a greater time to dive into EverQuest 2 and see the MMO that gave World of Warcraft a scare back in 2004. Okay, maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but anyway, it's a great MMO that undoubtedly has thousands of hours of content, and the further you dig, the better it gets. I've played EverQuest 2 off and on since it launched and always walked away impressed. Once again, it has open dungeons and dungeon instances as well. Tons of lore, an outrageous assortment of gear drops and content, and froglocks and rotongas. I mean, come on, you gotta try it. Mortal Online 2. Mortal Online 2 at the time of this recording is having some queue problems because it outsold their expectations, and although it is a full loot PvP type MMO, it's the immersion factor that is bringing in players by the droves. They need to fix the queue problem, obviously, but even right now you should have no issues logging in and playing the starting area of Haven to learn the intricacies of Mortal Online 2. Combat does require strategy in how you want to swing your weapon or to block from the right angle. It has a deep crafting system. It feels very realistic with an Elder Scrolls kind of vibe. It isn't often that we get an MMO that is completely first person, and with this much detail to the world, the queue problems are supposed to be resolved as well soon, so if you're watching this past February, chances are it's good to go now. Definitely worth your attention. Final Fantasy 14. Okay, so I just had to put this on here. It is absolutely dominating in player count, and it doesn't take too long of playing to understand why. I've actually put thousands of hours into this game. It has tons of content, and arguably one of the best stories in any Final Fantasy game to date. Content that just keeps coming in regular updates, and each expansion has only been better than the last. Final Fantasy 14 is a World of Warcraft style MMO, but set in a Final Fantasy world, which is right with everything that comes with that. That includes catgirls and bunny people galore, but also a very mechanic-based raid system that takes the meta and pushes it to the ultimate degree. I keep up to date with this MMO because it is simply one of the best. The free trial allows you to play hundreds of hours of content, and they have the most fair and balanced cash shop of any MMO out, in my opinion. The Elder Scrolls Online. The Elder Scrolls Online has continued to grow into a very immersive experience with enough of the Elder Scrolls type systems, stealing, killing anybody, quests from many different factions, and both public and instance dungeons, freedom and class building, and also the Cyrodiil open world PvP, which is optional, but similar to Dark Age of Camelot, it even has had some of the Dark Age of Camelot developers help design it. The Elder Scrolls Online is great about keeping new content coming, and although there are some issues sometimes with performance, overall, ESO is a great MMORPG, and if you've never given it a fair shake, or you haven't since it first launched, it's time you do. It has a lot of depth and personality, and although it certainly feels like an MMO, there are times you can get so immersed you forget and feel like you're playing a single-player Elder Scrolls game, which is both good and also kind of bad. But overall, no doubt, this is an excellent MMORPG. Final Fantasy XI. Final Fantasy XI is still going hard with a decent population and brand new content still coming out. The graphics still, in my opinion, hold up, and it is probably the most unique on this list. Everything about Final Fantasy XI is all to itself. The way it handles combat, quests, factions, story, classes, everything is unique, and there is a reason that so many people still talk about how much fun they have with this classic MMO, and all of that fun is still there, available on PC for anybody to dive in and live it or relive it. It is easier now than it used to be with Trust, Final Fantasy XI's version of Mercenaries, to help you play the content you want without waiting for a group. Now, once you start getting into higher level content, however, groups are still readily available. This is one I always come back and play, and it still has a ton of fun and adventure in the world of Vana'diel. Project Gorgon. Project Gorgon is an MMO passion for its indie wife-husband combo, and it's a very unique twist on classically spirited MMOs. The graphics aren't really something to write home to mama about, but it has a deep soul and plenty of fun dungeon delving and adventure. It also has a very quirky sense of humor. Here's the deal, if you loved old school MMOs like EverQuest or Asheron's Call, you gotta give Project Gorgon a try. It has a healthy population, offers new lands and dungeons to conquer, and has slightly better graphics than its old predecessors. It's a cheap buy-in to play, and once again, if you like those classics, you'll find a nice new home here. EverQuest or EverQuest P99. The original EverQuest still packs a punch, and there still is nothing quite like it. From trains to zone lines to epic feats with legendary items and enough content to last a lifetime, EverQuest will always be an excellent time. I recommend playing a TLP server for a better population at low level, or to try out EverQuest P99, which I'll have a link to into a video that will walk you through how to very easily get it set up and start playing in a jiffy. Some like to return for nostalgia, while others are still trying it out for the first time. There is a reason that this MMO still gets regular updates even 23 years after its initial launch, with new TLP servers and expansions every year. It is simply an absolute classic that every MMO player needs to experience. Dark Age of Camelot. Dark Age of Camelot completely changed the way MMO players looked at PvP with its 3-faction RVR trio war frontiers. Dark Age of Camelot may not be anywhere near the awesome level it was back in the early 2000s, but it still is a force to be reckoned with, offering to this date the best PvP experiences you will ever have. That's of course my opinion, and lots of other people's opinion too though. With a new rule set server launching this year, many will be returning to Camelot very soon. 3 different factions to pick from, with their own races and classes, quests, storylines, and enemies. This is about as varied as an MMO can get in one package, and an absolute smashing good time. Hammers, swords, and staffs up, Dark Age of Camelot still rocks. Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. Alright, hear me out, this game isn't out yet, but they are finishing up the touches on getting this back in the testers' hands and priming it up for alpha, and with packages available to support development, this MMO is pushing for the classically spirited MMO experiences for a modern audience. Deep and delicious class roles, tanks, healers, DPS and crowd control, support classes inspired by the world's greatest role-playing game, Dungeons & Dragons, with the tenets and core features designed by industry-leading Brad McQuaid of EverQuest and Vanguard Saga of Heroes fame. This isn't a game, it's a virtual world, and you can get in on the testing here in 2022 by signing up for the pledge package. We still have some heavy and long sessions for pre-alpha coming up, leading into alpha, that I do believe will be in 2022. There has never been a more exciting time for people that love classic MMOs than the days ahead, as Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is finally hitting major milestones to release. From climbing any surface to mobs having dispositions that can change how they react and fight, to a dynamic weather system that can help or hinder you depending on many factors such as what spells you have, the gear you wear, and it's all in an open world with deep and dark public dungeons littering the world and entire raid areas full of content and juicy items to fight for. Pantheon Rise of Fallen is my most anticipated MMO RPG of the future, and 2022 is looking like some of the best times in MMO history as we get back to testing it out. Pantheon is finishing up running through the HDRP pipeline, which is a fancy way of saying the graphics are about to improve tenfold and the world is coming alive. So in my opinion, there is no other MMO worth throwing money at quite like this one. I have a link in the description, pantheonmmo.com, so you can look at pledge packages and jump in on the action extremely soon. I hope you enjoyed my look at the best opportunities to play awesome MMOs in 2022. Head down to the comments section if your favorite MMORPG wasn't mentioned, or to talk about the MMOs I did mention. I think 2022 is going to be a fantastic year for MMOs, and if you want more MMO coverage, please hit subscribe and like this video to get it across the eyes of more MMO fans. Until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming.
Okay, so this guy didn't mention about the Lost Ark. Let's actually see the comment section. This uploaded recently, like 1 week ago, so like February 6th. Okay, the Lost Ark released February 8th, so he didn't have, he didn't know maybe. Let's actually see the comment section. Project Google. So everybody commented like 6 days ago. So nobody is aware of it. In my opinion, this one Lost Ark 2 maybe higher, like better than Lost Ark is maybe better than Final Fantasy 14. Now let's actually see which MMO are active players 2022. Okay, so here number 1 is Lost Ark. Lost Ark, wait a minute, where is the Final Fantasy 14 stands there? I mean, where's the Final Fantasy 14 is standing? Maybe this is not a credible website. Let's see another one. Okay, so let's look at the active players. Final Fantasy 14 still have the highest active players. The second one is Old School RuneScape. The third one is Path of Exile. I am surprised. I thought World of Warcraft was third. Path of Exile is third, and then the fourth one is World of Warcraft, and Lost Ark is fifth. The reason Lost Ark is standing fifth right now is because it started only like 5 days ago, and in 5 days it became top 5. So there are a lot of days to come, and only 4 million players started playing this so far, and 405 are active. So this one has chance to go number 1. And then Destiny 2, 736,141. Warframe has this much. World of Warcraft and others are like lower than that. So I'm excited about Path of Exile as well, because I just want to pick one game, and I know New Game failed big time. New World failed big time because it needs a lot of upgrades. But this one, Lost Ark, also from Amazon Games, New World also from Amazon Games, but Lost Ark has actually it already beat New World, World of Warcraft, even Final Fantasy 14, because Asman Gold was making a video about Lost Ark, and he shows that it has higher highest number of players than Final Fantasy 14. Actually, it showed like 1.2 million active players at this at time. He was showing the graph, but let's actually see some other websites to confirm whether this is also right. Path of Exile, Final Fantasy 14, Path of Exile to World of Warcraft, Old School, RuneScape, Destiny 2, New World. So this one may be before Lost Ark 2 released. I'm gonna put Lost Ark also because most of them are old old sites, so we cannot really compare. Okay, so here it's in the 5th place though, that's right. It's currently in the 5th place and second highest. Okay, so Lost Ark sets new current record player on Steam with over 1.3 million online. Lost Ark is one of the very few games Steam reach 1 million concurrent players. Not only, but Diablo like MMO has surpassed Dota 2 to become one of the most played games in the entire history of Steam. Originally, Lost Ark, a free-to-play RPG MMO, was released in South Korea back in 2019. After finding huge success there, Lost Ark publisher Smilegate partnered with Amazon to bring the hit game to the US and Europe. It launched in a paid early access period a few days ago before its official free-to-play release. And even with paywall in front, it was still able to rack up over 500,000 players in a few hours, becoming one of the most popular new games on Steam. Now, after some shaky launch day issues and several problems, Lost Ark is officially out for everyone for free, and it seems a lot of players are excited to jump in and play. Currently, as I'm writing, Lost Ark has reached 1.297896 players, surpassing Dota 2's highest current concurrent player number on Steam of 1,295,114. That now make it the 3rd most played game in the Steam history based on active concurrent players. Wow. So that's crazy. Yeah, so and it is from Amazon Games. There are a lot of chances for improvements, so let's wait and see. What do you guys think about this game? If you are already playing, put it in the comment section.